If you're looking for the best basketball talk in the universe, you just found it. This is Deep Hoops, where fans are the host. Troy Ramel Royal and me, your point guard, Jehudi. We're talking basketball, all basketball, and nothing but basketball. This is Deep Hoops.
It's always a pleasure to come to you here from Deep Hoops, coming to you from DETV, Rewind Network, Facebook, YouTube, however you're watching us. It is a pleasure, and we thank you for tuning into Deep Hoops. I am the minister.
And I'm Ra, the straw that stirs the drink.
Yes, and he is a stirrer. And we're going to have a good show. We really want to tell you that we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game that we love. What's going on, Rob?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Man, I'm outstanding,
All
man.
right.
So let's get right to it.
Sure.
A number of things going on in the NBA. Of course, as we look at where we're at right now, a team that both of us picked to be well into the playoffs, maybe top four, I think. I think we both had them top four team. And they're not doing it, is the Portland Trailblazers. Mm-hmm. Now, the other night, they made a deal. They went out in a non-guaranteed contract to my man, Carmelo Anthony. And I told people, I saw you that night, and I said, from now on, that's my new team. The Portland Trailblazers are my new team. But it still strikes me as there's something else that's needed. I want you to be the Rod, the GM, and tell us what you would do to take Portland from where they are right now to where we expected them to be.
Well, to begin with, I have this thing about sports, whether it's basketball, football, baseball. I believe you have a 3 to 5 year window to get it done. And I believe that the window on Portland may have closed this year because they've been relevant for the last 3 to 5 years. And during that time, they really never made any significant moves. Now, in this offseason, they made a move that brought in Bazemore and also brought in Hassan Whiteside. Now, Nurkic, the big man, he's still out.
Hurt.
And they decided to let Enes Kanter go, who I thought played very well in the absence of their big man during the playoffs last season. So it's interesting to see.
And show signs of defense.
Well, he played hard.
Yeah.
So what happens now is I do think their window has closed and they need to make some moves. And it's showing in the standings because they're not in the playoffs. And
as it stands right now, right?
And we both had them at 4. And I know the season is early, but with the surprises, the early surprises out west, you really don't have time to fall back because that climb could be a hard climb up. So, yeah, I like the move they made by signing Carmelo Anthony. Anybody who knows me, there's no bigger Carmelo Anthony fan than me. I'm a Syracuse Orange fan. I'm a Knicks fan, and he's played with both of them, brought a championship to Syracuse. So I'm big on that move. I hope they don't thrust him into the starting lineup. I hope they work him in slowly and bring him in off the bench. Last that we saw of Carmelo, he was averaging 13.4 a game for Houston Rockets. If he can bring that off the bench, 13, 14, 15 points a game, and maybe hit a shot when a shot is needed, that's going to be a big boost for them. But there's another move left, and I would have to look at the numbers, but they need one move because during this stretch that they've had, to me, their biggest weakness was they never got enough scoring or even scoring threat from their front court. So Ad Melo will provide that, but he's a bench player. I would like to see them actually move Hassan Whiteside and maybe some other expiring contracts and add a first-round pick to that and send it to Cleveland for Kevin Love. I think Cleveland will probably take that move because, let's face it, they're not in any danger of winning a championship. Kevin Love is playing well. I don't know if you want to hold on to that contract moving forward as you start to begin the rebuilding process with some of the young talent they got, Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, and Porter. Mm-hmm. So getting 2 or 3 expiring contracts, and even if it's a late first-round pick, for Kevin Love.
Kevin Love, that
might make sense for the Cavaliers, but make more sense for the Portland Trailblazers because now you can slide him into the power forward position and he can give you his double-double, whether that's 18 and 10, 15 and 10. You know you're going to get some offense. He can also play inside and out, and then you complement that with the signing of Carmelo Anthony, whether he starts or come off the bench. I think that's the move that Portland needs to make if they want to stay relevant and be a fixture in the top 8 or higher.
Now, I want to probe that just a little bit and really get your thoughts or your opinion on Carmelo eventually starting. You said starting or coming off the bench. You really started out the conversation saying coming off the bench and working it slowly. Do you see him, if he gets to Carmelo Anthony status, maybe not of old, but not an old Carmelo Anthony, do you see them bringing him into the starting lineup? And how would that impact the current Kevin Love acquisition?
Here's the thing. If Carmelo Anthony comes back 90% of what we know of him, then maybe they might hold off on the Kevin Love. But I don't think you want Carmelo coming back and being in the starting lineup. I think their bench is thin. I think there's not enough balls for the three of them, Dame, McCollum, and him. So if one sits down and you have Carmelo out there, you still have a dual threat in the scoring. So I really like him coming off the bench and accepting a six-man role. And I think at this point in his career, he was humble enough to do it in Houston. Remember, he hasn't played since November 8th of last year.
Right.
He may be even more humble at this time to do it in Portland, and I think it would benefit them greatly. But I do think that they need, especially with Zach Collins being out, and you don't know exactly when he's going to return.
Right.
I really would push the envelope for a Kevin Love trade. I think Kevin Love would be more consistent than Hassan Whiteside, and there's no future for Bazemore there.
None
at all.
None.
And again, he's an expiring contract. That might have some value to Cleveland.
Definitely.
You know, so if I'm Portland, I'm looking at that.
All right, so I just want to probe that just a little further. Let's just say Kevin Love, Cleveland, they're foolish, their management is foolish, they don't do him. Is there another deal that you could see that can help to take Portland to where we predicted them to be?
Well, there's a similar move, and that's if they struggle. I believe right now, as we speak, they might be teetering around the 7th or 8th spot in the East. But if for some reason Detroit falls out of it and maybe they decide to move Blake Griffin, you can offer the same package to them. And again, it'd be a contract dumping, but it does free up cap space. It could start to rebuild. Maybe Blake Griffin, they might ask for a youngster. But if I'm Portland, I'm making that move. If Blake Griffin is available, I might do it before Kevin Love.
I think with Blake Griffin, that's a lot of similarity to what they already have. And there's no three-point threat. There's nothing else there to stretch the court.
Well, here's the thing. Kevin Love can stretch the court and be a three-point shooter. You're right. But where Blake, I think, will be a better fit is Blake has played with stars. And also, Blake can be a playmaker. So where Kevin Love can't bring the ball up and create and set up someone else, maybe Dame or McCollum. But Blake can do that.
Right.
I mean, Blake was having success last season in Detroit, kind of as a point power forward. And so he can do that, which will just add another element to Portland. So, yeah, it could work out with Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin would be a good move as well. I just don't know if Detroit would be as motivated to move Blake Griffin as Cleveland would be motivated to move Kevin Love.
And I think you're right because Detroit has aspirations of making it to the playoffs. Cleveland, if they back in or if they luck in or if they, just get lightning in a bottle, then they may go to the playoffs. Right now, they're thinking about the future. I think Detroit is thinking about the here and now. So that's a good point.
And I believe Cleveland would probably want to move Tristan Thompson first before Kevin Love. But I don't think Tristan Thompson serves a purpose for
Not
Portland.
for Portland. Not for Portland.
He might serve a purpose for a team like San Antonio,
Right,
or somebody like that. But I just don't see them being a player for Tristan Thompson. Kevin Love, yes.
You know, there's been a lot of talk, and Kawhi is at the center of this talk about load management. And I got to tell you, I'm going to give you my opinion on the front end. I'm not a fan of load management, okay? Especially 10 games into the season. You've already, maybe 12, I don't know, 10, 12 games into the season. You've already rested 5 times?
Yeah, I despise load management. And what we're seeing from the Clippers organization, the way they're handling the Kawhi situation, is really, really, it's really alarming. Will it benefit them at the end of the season? Perhaps. Kawhi missed 22 games last year with Toronto. They went 17-5 in their absence. And as a result of it, he averaged the highest minutes in the playoffs last year, and he went on and won a championship.
And was hurt.
And was hurt. And the thing is that if they're thinking they can catch lightning in a bottle twice, then, I understand.
Right.
But I'm not for it.
Right.
And the thing about it is, for those who play every game now, I'm currently, and I'm not talking about the guys of yesteryear.
Right.
But just for those who play every game, to me, it's a disservice to the game. If you're hurt, you're hurt. I understand. But if it's just rest, I just have it.
And my big problem with it is beyond the rest, is beyond the games and the way that it was played in yesteryear, beyond James Harden or someone else giving their all every night. My challenge with it is when you have a nationally televised game, the networks paid a lot of money for it. We are really looking forward to that game. That's a tune-in game, something that we want to watch. And you take that away from us with load management?
Yeah.
Come on, man. And once again, I said it earlier. This early in the season, you're load managing? What kind of load have you had 10 games, 12 games in?
All right, so if you're 12 games in and you sat down 4 games, that's once every 3 games or every 4 games.
What's the ratio? You said he sat out 22.
That's 1 out of every 4. When you think about it, that's a quarter of the season. It's 82 games, so he sat out 1 out of 4.
So he's on track to do 22 games again.
Yeah, he's on track. I just don't like it. It really is horrible. And the thing about it is, I listened to Robert Parrish one day on an interview, and he despised it, but he understands. I know I'm going to switch gears here, but we're sports fans. My guy, DeGrom, won back-to-back Cy Young Awards in the National League in baseball, Major League Baseball, with 11-7 record. You had to have 20 wins or more at once upon a time.
Right.
But now, not so much load management, but they're not pitching into the 6th inning. They're not pitching into the 7th inning. And it's okay for them to miss a start.
Right.
And the thing about it is, there's not going to be any 300 winners anymore. And a Cy Young winner winning with 11 games. I mean, pitchers was winning 15 games in 1 half. So this load management is an issue in professional sports. Now, it would really be an issue if they did it in football.
I don't want to hear Zeke load managing, right? He's having a problem just managing. Nevertheless, load management.
But load management, is it money? Or is it generally good for the player? And when I say money, these players is getting paid an awful lot of cash these days. And it's their way of protecting their investment.
Yeah, but your investment is on the court. Mm-hmm. You got that money because of what you do on the court. Mm-hmm. And because of the fans. Mm-hmm. So the sneakers and everything else. If you're not on the court, you're not selling sneakers. If you're not on the court, you're not visible to the people that are paying your salary. And I hear the athletes, and I cringe when I hear it. We can't worry about the fans. Doggone it, the fans are paying your salary.
Yeah, it should be some concern.
It should be some concern, but I digress. I'm getting heated. I'm not the straw that stirs the drink. I'm the point guard over here. So let's move on to the next subject. But before we move on to the next subject, why don't we take a quick break and we'll come right back.
Are you struggling with addiction? Do you need to detox? Is addiction controlling your life, hurting your loved ones? Don't be ashamed. Addiction is a disease that requires medical treatment. At Freedom from Addiction, we help people nationwide get free from addiction to alcohol, opioids, prescription medicine, narcotics, and more. Your life is precious. Addiction is a disease. Accept the help you need and call Freedom from Addiction now to get the victory over addiction you and your family deserve. We get hundreds of calls every day. Right now, we just want one, yours. Call Freedom from Addiction now, and in as little as 21 days from right now, you can return home free from addiction and free to start a new chapter in your life. But you have to call now.
Make the call, 1-866-485-1956.
This message is for all Americans that owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS. Call the number on your screen now and we will contact the IRS on your behalf, help you end wage garnishments, stop collection calls, remove tax liens, eliminate IRS and state tax penalties, and reduce the amount you owe if you qualify. Let us take the stress of back taxes and the IRS off your shoulders so you can spend time on the important things in your life, like your family or your business. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, call now. Find out how we can help you.
And we're back to our next topic, and I'll tell you something. There's a player that is once again playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
He's playing out of his mind, and this lead-in that I'm giving, everyone knows who I'm talking about. There's only one player that is, playing out of his mind. LeBron is playing great.
Yeah, he is.
But this guy is playing out of his mind. But here's my question. Is he a regular season player? I'm talking about James Harden.
It's funny you bring up James Harden, and before I answer that, I kind of want to ask you a question, and that is, could he benefit from load management?
Well, you know what? The way he plays in the playoff, they need to manage something.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of James Harden. I don't like his style of play, but I do acknowledge the fact that he is balling. And he's pretty much unguardable nowadays. And what he's doing, he's very crafty and he's creative. And I pat him on the back because, there was a program, a segment that I caught one day, and they said that he would show up to Secaucus, New Jersey, to the replay booth where they do to go over the rules and things of that nature for the league in the upcoming season, and he'd be the only player there, and he brings lunch. So there might be a reason why he gets favorite for some of the stuff that we might call traveling or whatever the case is. But he's the only player that shows up to these meetings. And I guess referees look at that.
He's a good guy.
Oh, he's a good guy. He's the only one here. We're going to show him some love. But to get to your point, he's an MVP candidate right now.
But he's an MVP candidate. And here's the thing. He's an MVP candidate. Doggone there ever since he's left OKC.
Right.
Okay? So every year he's been an MVP candidate. And I'm not taking that away from him. But is he just a regular season? Is he the Buffalo Bills of basketball?
Well, his career stat line would show that because he can't win a big game. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a guy that we see that and ahs us and thrills us every year for the last 5-6 years. And each season, he does it even more than the last season. And the thing about it is, when you look at his usage rate, it's among the highest of anybody in the league. He plays as many minutes as anybody in the league. And the thing is, by the time the playoffs come, he could be burnt out. It could be worn down.
Do you think that's really what it is? Or is the game called differently in the playoffs?
Well, you know, with him, I can't say for sure. Because when he was a young pup in OKC, he choked in the finals.
He did.
He choked in the finals. And it seems like the stage just gets too big for him, or it followed him.
And remember, when they came back against, I think it was the Clippers, he was on the bench.
Right, for that 3-1 down.
Right.
Yeah, so the thing is that I want to root for him because he does play every game. He does wild the fans.
Likeable dude.
He gives it to you every game. I just don't want to be a teammate of his, just standing there watching him do what he does, and he possibly passes me the ball with 3 seconds on the clock. And now I'm forced to hoist it or do something with it, and a lot of times it turns out to be a turnover. So, but
it's confusing. It's, listen, what he's doing in the regular season, we're not hating on it.
No.
We're not jonesing on him or doing anything. We're acknowledging that he is doing some great things. I just want to see that same level, or as my son Deuce would say, that same energy be just, exhibited in the playoffs. That's what I like to see.
Well, in the playoffs, they do officiate the games a little bit
and
differently.
defense is a little different. They give defense a little more leeway.
Not only that, there's more game planning that goes on.
Right.
During the regular season, you're in and out.
Right.
One game here, you're on the road. One game here, but you're facing somebody possibly for 7 games, definitely for 4.
Right.
And it's easier to game plan and so forth. And for some of the inefficiency or lack of success in the playoffs, we can point the fingers at him, but as these teams are as his opponents are making adjustments on him, his coach needs to be able to counter with some sort of adjustments as well.
Come on.
We're talking dance.
We're talking dance. He's a one-trick pony. Okay, all right, that trick is already been shown. And when you ask him to coach beyond that trick, it ain't happening, okay? So I get your point, and you're right. Adjustments. I'd like to see him, soon under another coach. And I think that's going to happen.
Will it affect his game?
No, he was doing it under McHale as well. It wasn't just D'Antoni that has unleashed this craziness. All right, let's get to our closing comments because, the people at Rewind Network and DETV, unlike YouTube and Facebook, they have stipulations around these things. So let's get to our closing comments.
My closing comments is going to center around the New York Knicks. We did a show about them last week. My good friend here, my co-host, my buddy, he's talked about them for 2 weeks in a row on closing comments. But I'm going to talk about them today. I hope that the brass is watching, and I'm talking about management. The New York Knicks is no longer a Dolan problem. Yes, we can always point the finger at Dolan that he needs to sell the franchise and so forth. And I'll be the first to admit that he is a black cloud over the franchise. But at this point here, it also comes down to management and it also comes down to the coaches. And the coaches has to get the best out of these players. I've been calling for Fizz's job for a few weeks now. And I must say, it is time for him to go. I watched the game with the Knicks in Charlotte. Charlotte never really established any inside presence whatsoever. During that first half, they were shooting threes. Everybody was getting an opportunity to knock down a three-point shot, and they was doing it. That's how they stayed in the game. Somehow or another, the Knicks come out in the second half and run up an 18-point lead right before my eyes. And then right before my eyes, Fizdale decides to put the Knicks in a 2-3 zone. Now, I don't know how much basketball you played or how much basketball knowledge you have, whether it's from the Pee Wee leagues or all the way to the pros. But I do know this from when I played basketball. A zone is to protect the paint. The zone is to prevent scoring in the paint, entry passes. The zone never protects the perimeter. And when you have a hot shooting, 3-point shooting team like the Charlotte Hornets. And you guys better get used to them because they have some shooters over there. You're just inviting them to come up, swing the ball around, and just toe the line and shoot the three. Well, as a result of it, they chip away the lead. And even though the game was a close finish towards the end, they wound up winning the game. And not only did they win the game because of that bad decision to go zone, they also won the game because with 2.1 seconds left in the game, New York calls a timeout with a chance to win the game down by 1. You see the play. They have 4 men in a box, spread it out. And Randall is the nearest guy to the ball. And the play was for him to pop out, catch the ball. No picks, no bumps, no movement. Just pop out, catch the ball, and go one-on-one. That's not coaching. To the brass, Steve Mills, Scott Perry. If us fans can see this, I'm sure you're seeing this. Dave Fizdale, nice guy, good guy, probably someone to have a beer with, but he's not a head coach. It's time to make the move.
You know, if you're not anything, you're consistent. And that's what I love about you. I mean, you believe what you believe, and you're going to opine on what you believe, and you don't like Fizdale. Fizdale, I don't like you. This is my partner. You got to go.
Thanks for seeing the light.
I don't see it, but, you know, you my dude. So if you say you got to go, he got to go. I want to talk about something that Ron talks about all the time, that the NBA's future is bright. And one of its brightest stars is a gentleman that has just taken me by awe, and it's Ja Morant. I'm watching this kid, and how many ever games he's in to his NBA, short NBA season, he's looking like a seasoned pro, a veteran. He's doing things and making moves and pulling things out of his bag of tricks that a veteran will pull out of his bag of tricks. And he's doing it to veterans. You know, we talked about Zion. We talked about a million other people. I'm watching this kid right here. And then I'm looking at a Trae Young. And I'm watching what he's doing. And I'm going to tell you another one that's not getting a whole lot of the hoopla right now, but I think he will. Kobe White for Chicago. I'm watching these young dudes and what they're capable and able to do. And then on top of that, they seem to have their heads together. They have a good head on their shoulder, and they understand the complexities of the league already. Yeah, Adam Silver, I'm so glad that you're at the helm of this next iteration of the NBA, because the NBA is looking very bright. Even for a get-off-the-lawn guy like me, I'm loving what I see. Keep up the good work, and Ja Morant, I'll see you in a future All-Star game. That's it for Deep Hoops for this evening. We'd like to thank DETV, Rewind Network, of course, our fans and friends on Facebook and YouTube. And we tell you all the time, we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game that we love. For the minister
And Rob,
we'd like to thank you for being a part of this episode, and we'll see you next time right here on Deep Hoops. Peace.